Hi guys, Dr. Luster here today, and today I would like to talk to you a little bit about the differences between, let's say, Western medicine and Eastern medicine, or you can call it traditional medicine and holistic medicine, or chiropractic medicine, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about those differences and why it's important to know the differences, but why it's also important to understand how they work together. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about a three-sided stool, and then I'm going to tell you an example via a story. So this three-sided stool is this idea that all medicine kind of works with this, well, a three-sided stool, right? A three-legged stool. And one leg is research, and it is scientific based. It is all of the evidence that they do for all of those things, and that is incredibly powerful, especially in today's world. It's been propped up a lot. Things that you can reproduce, that kind of thing. Medications are a great example of something that can be reproduced, sort of, but I won't go into the nuances of that. But they're a great example of what they've been using for that side of the stool. They're research based. Then versus like chiropractic or something, it's harder to assess from adjustment to adjustment and person to person, that kind of thing. So there's not so much research based on it because it's very much the other two parts of the stool. So the next part of the stool is the patient experience. So a perfect example for this is like talk therapy, right? It works because the patient believes that it works. And this is significant. Like, this is not something that can be, brushed off or whatever. It is significant because how a patient's outlook on things is really, well, at least according to the stool aspect, 33% of, success. So, how a patient perceives it and where they perceive their health and their treatment is super important. And then the last part of that stool is physician and physician experience. And that's significant. And if you think about it this way, like if you have a choice between a doctor that has been out and seen 5,000 cases and is an expert in their field versus someone who just graduated, who are you going to choose and why? You're probably going to choose the expert, or the person that's seen all of these cases because they've seen the nuances that you can't teach in school, right? And there's something to having put your hands on people or been in that experience in the nitty gritty, in the real life, that is important. And you learn things from that you just can't learn in school. And even though the student may be the best in their class, or they may, have all of the new edge technologies or whatever, the new edge techniques, it's not the same. There's something to physician experience. And that is the third part of that stool. So with those in mind, traditional medicine has really, really, really gone the route of just the research, and they've kind of poo-pooed the other two aspects of that stool. And that's unfortunate because patient experience has, and I would say arguably physician knowledge has dwindled as a result of the focus on only one side of the stool. If it doesn't have a study behind it, then it can't be real, right? Or it can't be an okay treatment. And that's just not true. That's not how things work. So unfortunately, they've gone that way with it, and you see it in the chiropractic field too, and it's just really a discredit to the patient and to the physician because that dynamic is where the healing really is, right? Anyways, off that soapbox. So my actual example is going to be of chronic pain and why this is going to play into where I think that the role goes with this. So first of all, I think that traditional medical care is super important for crisis care. It is the end of the road care. So traditional medicine is fantastic if you were in a car accident and you broke something or whatever, please go to the hospital. If you were in a car accident, please go to the hospital first, find out you're not internally bleeding, and then come see me and we'll clean up all of this stuff. But it's great for that kind of thing. But it's really just keeping you from falling completely apart kind of thing. It's not wellness care of any sort. It doesn't heal anything. It just keeps you from falling apart. And I would argue that even if you like broke an arm, it's not healing anything. It just, they splinted it and braced it and put it back in line, but the body is healing it. You know, you are healing it. So ultimately, it's great for crisis care. So now we're going to take it to the whole, well, what about medications aspect of that? So I was in a car accident that required me to get 2 spinal fusions in my neck and in my low back. And I have chronic pain as a result of it. Now, I don't have the sharp shooting pain I had before, but I definitely have chronic pain afterwards. And that was a swap that, you know, I had to make, and it is what it is. But with that being said, what I'm getting at with this is that I understand the need for medications when you are in chronic pain. Sometimes you just got to take something to get through the day. And I think that a lot of the physicians that tell you otherwise, they haven't been in chronic pain. Like, you just have to get through the day, and it's unbearable. You can't escape it, you know? Now, are there things that you should do before? Yes, like drink water or move or stop eating sugar. Yes, those are all things you should do, but if it doesn't help in that exact moment, or if it doesn't, you know, if it's not going to fix this to some extent for the moment, for you to get through this moment, then take the medication, you know, and I'm not that person who's going to berate you for that. I'm just not. Now, there is a cost to each of those things. You know, sometimes I'm no longer on any prescription ones, but I do definitely take Advil or Tylenol every so often to manage my pain because it's just unbearable, you know. But I also know that when I take that there's a cost, and that cost is extra stress on my liver and kidneys, and that my brain isn't going to process quite the same way. And the reason for that is medication fundamentally changes some things temporarily, and that's the thing that we don't acknowledge. A lot of these other techniques like chiropractic or acupuncture or whatever, they're not changing you chemically. They're not actually messing with those things. So let's say, for example, pain meds generally work in one of 2 ways. They either cut off the connection at your brain, so where your brain connects to, let's say, your arm, which is what's really hurting, right? And so it either cuts off the connection at the brain and says, the arm isn't there, it's fine. And so you don't register the pain anymore, or it cuts it off down at the arm, so it goes all the way down and it's just like, the hand isn't there, it's fine, you know, so you actually don't register it. But the problem with that is that you no longer also register where your body is in space, and that's called proprioception. So it really kind of changes. So, okay, yes, my hand doesn't hurt, but my brain doesn't super know where my hand is unless I'm looking at it, you know, and even then it's having some disconnect. So, granted, it's temporary, which is also the amazing part of your body, but it definitely has some effects that we take for granted. And that you see more with chiropractic education than you do with some of the other stuff. So with that being said, I definitely think that medication has its place, and I am not going to poo-poo you on that, but recognize the costs, and we will talk about those and try and work you through it the best that we can. Like I said, crisis care, absolutely go to the medical community. And then as far as PT and massage and stuff like that, I'll give you the example of PT works. AK kind of has this idea that is opposite of PT, where if you have a weak muscle, it's not because that the muscle is weak, it needs to be strengthened, like you need to do more arm lifts. No, maybe it's that your brain is not connecting with it appropriately, so we need to correct that connection. So my argument would be that PT is great when you are already connected, and we can go into a whole spiel about PT versus applied kinesiology, which I probably will now that I think about it. But it is great when things are in place and everything is working, and then go strengthen that muscle, go reiterate that message, so your brain is like, stay here, stay here, that kind of thing. Same thing with massage. When things are in place, it's a great healing modality to clear out, but not until things are in place, kind of thing. So they all work together, and I really just wanted to clarify that because we should be working together and not against each other. And I hope that helps. Thanks, guys.